The transport ship landed on Station Verath 9 with a soft hum. The doors opened, and a man stepped out. He was not tall. He was not strong-looking. He wore simple clothes and carried a small bag over his shoulder. His name was Park Jin-ho, and he had come a very long way from Earth. A reptilian creature waited for him at the landing bay. She stood on two legs like a human, but her skin was covered in green scales. Her eyes were yellow, with black slits in the middle. Her name was Kira Vaughn, and she was the senior trainer at the station. "You are the human?" Kira asked. Her voice was cold and sharp. "Yes," Jin-ho said. He smiled warmly. "Thank you for having me." Kira looked at him for a long moment. She had seen many species in her 40 years of work. She had trained beside warriors from the Moran Empire. She had worked with scientists from the Velthari Collective, but humans were still new to the galaxy. Earth had only joined the Galactic Union 15 years ago. Most aliens still did not understand these strange, soft creatures. "Follow me," Kira said. "The director wants to see you." They walked through long metal hallways. The station was huge. It floated in space, far from any planet. Its purpose was simple but dangerous. It was a place where the galaxy's most deadly creatures were kept and studied. Some were brought here for research. Others were too dangerous to live anywhere else. Jin-ho looked around with curious eyes. He saw workers of many different species. Some had 4 arms. Some had no arms at all. Some floated through the air like clouds. They all looked at him as he passed. A human on Station Verath 9 was a strange sight. They reached a large door. It opened, and they entered a round room. In the center was a pool of blue liquid. Inside the pool floated a creature that looked like a large jellyfish. This was Consul Pell, the station director. "Ah. The human has arrived," Pell said. His voice came from speakers in the walls. "Welcome to Station Verath 9. Park Jin-ho of Earth." "Thank you, Consul," Jin-ho said. He bowed his head slightly. "Do you know why you are here?" Pell asked. "I was told you have a creature that no one can train," Jin-ho said. "That is correct," Pell said. "Show him." A screen appeared in the air. On the screen was a dark room. At first, Jin-ho could see nothing. Then something moved in the shadows. A creature stepped into the light. It was black. Its body was long and low to the ground. It had 6 legs, each ending in sharp claws. Its head was flat, with no eyes that Jin-ho could see. Instead, there were small holes on the sides of its head. Its mouth was filled with teeth that curved backward like hooks. "This is a shadow maw," Kira said. "It comes from a death world in the Outer Rim." "Class 7. Jin-ho nodded. He knew about death worlds. Earth was Class 4. That meant it was dangerous but livable. Class 7 was much worse. "The shadow maw hunts using heat and movement," Kira continued. "It can feel the warmth of your body from 50 meters away. It can sense the smallest movement in total darkness. It is fast. Faster than anything you have ever seen." On the screen, the creature suddenly moved. One moment it was standing still. The next moment it was on the other side of the room. Jin-ho blinked. He had not even seen it move. "How many people have tried to train it?" Jin-ho asked. 23, Pell answered. "All of them failed. How many died?" There was a pause. 17, Kira said quietly. Jin-ho was silent for a moment. He watched the creature on the screen. It was pacing now, moving back and forth like a caged animal. There was something in the way it moved. Something that Jin-ho recognized. "It is afraid," he said. Kira made a sound like a laugh. "Afraid? This creature fears nothing. It is a perfect killer. Everything fears something," Jin-ho said. "Even perfect killers." Kira's yellow eyes narrowed. "You do not understand. This creature cannot be trained. It cannot be controlled. It attacks anything that moves. Anything. We have tried food. We have tried cages. We have tried everything. Nothing works." Jin-ho smiled and scratched the back of his head. It was a habit he had when he was thinking. "Can I see it?" he asked. "See it?" Kira said. You want to go into the room with it? Not yet, Jinho said. Just see it, in person. Pell made a bubbling sound. Very well. Kira, take him to the observation deck. They left the director's office and walked to another part of the station. Here, the hallways were darker. The air was colder. Jinho could feel something in the atmosphere. A sense of danger. They reached a large window. Behind the glass was the Shadow Maw's cage. The creature was lying in the corner, but as soon as they arrived, its head turned toward them. Those empty spaces where eyes should be seemed to look right at Jinho. It knows we are here, Kira said. It can feel our heat through the glass. Jinho stepped closer to the window. The Shadow Maw rose to its feet. A low sound came from its throat. A warning. You see, Kira said. It wants to kill us. That is all it knows. But Jinho was not looking at the creature's claws or teeth. He was looking at the way it held its body. The way it kept its back to the wall. The way its legs were bent. Ready to run as much as to attack. No, Jinho said softly. It does not want to kill us. It thinks we want to kill it. Kira stared at him. What? On Earth, we have a saying, Jinho said. A scared animal is more dangerous than an angry one. This creature is not evil. It is terrified. It has been taken from its home. It has been put in a cage. It has been poked and tested and hurt. Of course it attacks everything that moves. It thinks everything is trying to hurt it. Kira did not know what to say. In all her years of work, no one had ever said anything like this. Can you train it? She finally asked. Jinho looked at the Shadow Maw. The creature looked back at him. I do not know, Jinho said honestly. But I would like to try. He scratched his head again and smiled. After all, he said, my people have done this before. 3 days passed before Jinho asked to enter the cage. During those 3 days, he did nothing but watch. He sat by the observation window for hours at a time. He watched the Shadow Maw sleep. He watched it eat. He watched it pace the walls of its prison. He wrote notes in a small book. He asked questions that no one had thought to ask before. What did it eat on its home world? How did it hunt? Did it live alone or with others? Kira could not answer most of these questions. No one had studied the Shadow Maw's home planet. They had only captured the creature and brought it here. That was the Galactic Union's way. Capture first, understand later. On the 4th day, Jinho went to console Pell. I want to go inside, he said. Pell's body rippled with concern. Inside the cage? That is not allowed. You will die. Maybe, Jinho said. But I need to try. Why? Pell asked. What do you plan to do? Jinho smiled. Nothing. Nothing? The Shadow Maw attacks things that move, Jinho explained. So I will not move. I will sit. I will be still. I will show it that I am not a threat. Pell was silent for a long time. His body changed colors as he thought. Blue to green to yellow. This is foolish, Pell finally said. But I will allow it. If you die, it will not be the station's responsibility. I understand, Jinho said. The news spread quickly through the station. A human was going to enter the Shadow Maw's cage. Everyone thought he was crazy. Some came to watch. They gathered at the observation window, waiting to see what would happen. Kira met Jinho at the entrance to the cage. With her was a young human woman. She had a kind face and worried eyes. Her name was Han Minji. She had been sent from Earth to learn from the station's trainers. She had been on Verith 9 for only 2 months. Sir, please reconsider, Minji said. There must be another way. Jinho looked at her and smiled. What is your job here? I monitor the animals, Minji said. I watch their vital signs, heart rate, brain activity, stress levels. Good, Jinho said. Then please monitor mine. He handed her a small device. She attached it to her tablet. On the screen, his heart rate appeared. 62 beats per minute. Calm and steady. If something goes wrong, I will open the emergency door, Kira said. You will have 3 seconds to get out. That will not be necessary, Jinho said. You do not know that. No, Jinho agreed. But I believe it. The door to the cage opened. Jinho stepped inside. The door closed behind him with a heavy sound. The cage was dark. The air was cold and smelled of metal. Jinho could not see the shadow maw, but he knew it was there. He could feel its presence in the darkness. He walked slowly to the center of the room. His footsteps were soft. Each movement was careful and smooth. No sudden actions. No quick turns. Just slow, gentle motion. Then he sat down on the floor. At the observation window, the crowd watched in silence. Minji looked at her screen. Jinho's heart rate was 64 beats per minute. Still calm. He is insane, someone whispered. A shape moved in the darkness. The shadow maw appeared from the shadows. It circled the room, keeping close to the walls. Its head was turned toward Jinho. Those strange heat-sensing holes were focused on him. Jinho did not move. The creature came closer. 5 meters, 4 meters, 3 meters. A low growl came from its throat. Its claws clicked on the metal floor. Still, Jinho did not move. The shadow maw stopped. It was confused. Every other creature that had entered this room had done one of two things. They had attacked, or they had run. This one did neither. It just sat there like a stone. Minutes passed. The crowd at the window barely breathed. Minji's hands were shaking, but Jinho's heart rate stayed the same. 60 beats per minute. How was this possible? The shadow maw circled Jinho again. It came close enough to touch him. Its breath was hot against his skin. Jinho could smell it now. A sharp, wild smell. The smell of a predator, but he did not move. He did not look at the creature. He kept his eyes down. His body was relaxed. His hands rested on his knees. An hour passed, then 2 hours, then 3. The shadow maw grew tired of watching the strange creature that would not move. It returned to its corner. It lay down. After some time, it closed its mouth and let its head rest on the floor. It was sleeping. A small sound came from the crowd at the window. Was that amazement? Disbelief? No one could tell. Minji stared at her screen. The shadow maw's stress levels had dropped, not by a lot, but enough to notice. For the first time since it had been captured, the creature was starting to relax. 4 more hours passed. Jinho sat in the darkness without moving. His legs must have hurt. His back must have been stiff. But he showed no sign of discomfort. Finally, as the station's artificial lights dimmed to mark the night cycle, Jinho stood up. He moved slowly, just as he had before. The shadow maw's head lifted. It watched him. Jinho walked to the door. It opened. He stepped out. The door closed behind him, and he let out a long breath. His legs were shaking now. Sweat covered his face. Minji ran to him. "Are you okay?" "I am fine," Jinho said. His voice was tired but happy. Just a little stiff. Kira approached him. Her yellow eyes were wide. "I do not understand. You sat there for 7 hours. You did nothing." "I did the most important thing," Jinho said. "I showed it that I am not a threat, that I do not want to hurt it. By sitting still? By being patient," Jinho said. "On Earth, this is how we first approached wolves thousands of years ago. We did not attack them. We did not run from them. We sat near them. We shared our food. We showed them that we could live together." Kira shook her head. "Wolves? Predators," Jinho explained. "Hunters with sharp teeth and strong jaws. They could have killed us easily. But we did not fight them. We became their friends. Today, we call them dogs. They live in our homes. They sleep in our beds. They love us, and we love them." The crowd at the window was dispersing now. Some were talking excitedly. Others were shaking their heads in disbelief. A human had gone into the shadow maw's cage and come out alive. Not only alive but successful. "Will you go back tomorrow?" Minji asked. Jinho smiled and scratched his head. "Yes. And the day after that? And the day after that? This is only the beginning." He looked back at the cage. Through the darkness, He could see the shape of the shadow maw lying in its corner. "We have a long way to go," he said softly. "But I think we can be friends." Weeks passed on Station Vareth 9. Every day, Jinho entered the shadow maw's cage. Every day, he sat in the darkness and waited. And slowly, very slowly, things began to change. The shadow maw stopped growling when he entered. It stopped circling him like prey. Instead, it watched from its corner, with what might have been curiosity. The creature had never seen anything like this human before. Minji watched everything from the control room. She recorded every session. She tracked every change in the creature's behavior. She was learning something new about both the shadow maw and her own species. "His heart rate never goes above 70, she told Kira one day. "Even when the shadow maw comes close enough to touch him. How does he stay so calm?" Kira had no answer. In her experience, every species felt fear when facing a predator. It was natural. It was survival. But this human seemed to have control over his fear in a way she had never seen. On the 15th day, Jinho did something different. He brought food. The shadow maw's diet on the station was simple. Raw meat, dropped into the cage through a hole in the ceiling. The creature had never received food from a person's hand. No one had been brave enough to try. Jinho sat in his usual spot. In his lap was a piece of fresh meat. He held it out in front of him. His arm extended. The shadow maw smelled it immediately. Its head rose. Its body tensed. "What is he doing?" Kira demanded from the observation window. "I think he is trying to hand-feed it," Minji said. Her voice was barely a whisper. The shadow maw approached. This was different from before. The food was tempting. The smell was strong. But there was danger too. The human was offering something. That had never happened before. The creature stopped a meter away from Jinho. Its mouth opened slightly. Those curved teeth gleamed in the low light. Jinho did not move. His arm stayed extended. His breathing was slow and steady. Long minutes passed. The crowd at the window held their breath. Then the shadow maw moved forward. Its head came close to Jinho's hand. Closer. Closer. Its mouth opened. It took the meat from his fingers. Its teeth came within centimeters of his skin. But it did not bite him. Then it retreated to eat its prize. A cheer went up from the observation window. Aliens of many species were clapping and shouting. They had just witnessed something that the Galactic Union's records said was impossible. A shadow maw had taken food from a living hand. Minji was crying. She did not know why. Maybe it was relief. Maybe it was joy. Maybe it was pride in what her species could do. Jinho looked back at the window. He smiled and scratched his head. Like it was nothing special. Like he had just fed a pet cat. After the session, Kira found Jinho in the rest area. He was drinking water and rubbing his arm. It was sore from holding it out for so long. "I do not understand you," Kira said. "I do not understand humans." "What do you mean?" Jinho asked. Kira sat down across from him. Her yellow eyes were filled with confusion. "In the Union, we have studied thousands of species," she said. "We know how they think. We know what they want. Predators want to hunt. Prey wants to survive. Everything follows simple rules. And humans do not follow these rules?" "No," Kira said. "You are predators. Your bodies are weak, but you have the eyes of hunters. You eat meat. You have hunting instincts. But you do not act like predators. You do not try to dominate. You do not try to kill. Instead, you try to make friends." Jinho nodded slowly. "That is true. We are strange creatures." "Why?" Kira asked. "Why do humans do this?" Jinho thought for a moment. "On Earth, we were not the strongest animals. We could not run the fastest. We could not fight the best. There were creatures much bigger and more dangerous than us. Lions, bears, wolves, crocodiles. And you survived?" Kira asked. "We did more than survive," Jinho said. "We became the dominant species on our planet. But not by fighting. We learned that cooperation was more powerful than competition. We made friends with wolves and turned them into dogs. We made friends with wild horses and rode them across continents. We even made friends with cats, although they never really admit it. Kira made a sound that might have been a laugh. You befriended predators? Yes, Jinho said. We learned that even the most dangerous animal wants the same things we want. Food. Safety. Companionship. If we could give them these things, they would be our partners instead of our enemies. And you think this will work with the Shadow Maw? I hope so, Jinho said. The Shadow Maw is alone. It has been taken from its home. It has been hurt and scared for a long time. But I think there is something inside it that wants connection. I think it is tired of being afraid. More weeks passed. Jinho continued his work. Each day brought small progress. The Shadow Maw began to approach him without hesitation. It began to eat from his hand regularly. It even began to make small sounds when he entered the cage. Sounds that were not growls or warnings. Sounds that might have been greetings. Minji started assisting Jinho inside the cage. At first, she was terrified. But Jinho taught her the same methods he used. Move slowly. Stay calm. Show no fear. Show no threat. The first time the Shadow Maw approached Minji, she almost ran. But Jinho's calm voice stopped her. Do not move, he said. Let it smell you. Let it know you. The creature circled her. It sniffed her hands, her feet, her hair. Then it returned to Jinho's side and lay down. It accepts you, Jinho said with a smile. You are part of the family now. Minji laughed. It was a shaky laugh, full of relief and wonder. I cannot believe this is real. On Earth, this is very real, Jinho said. Every child knows what it feels like to pet a dog. Every farmer knows what it feels like to ride a horse. Humans and animals have been partners for thousands of years. Consul Pell began to visit the observation window regularly. The director was fascinated by what Jinho was accomplishing. He ordered detailed reports on every session. He sent these reports to the Galactic Union's Scientific Council. They do not believe me, Pell told Jinho one day. They think I am making this up. A Shadow Maw taking food from a human's hand? Impossible, they say. Then we will have to show them more, Jinho said. What do you mean? Jinho looked at the cage where the Shadow Maw was resting peacefully. The creature that had killed 17 trainers was now sleeping like a baby while a human sat beside it. I think it is time for the next step, Jinho said. I think it is time to touch it. Kira, who was standing nearby, made a sharp sound of alarm. Touch it? Its skin is covered in poisonous oils. One touch could kill you. Jinho smiled and scratched his head. Then I will wear gloves. He looked at the Shadow Maw again. The creature's head turned toward him, as if it knew he was watching. Trust is built one step at a time, Jinho said softly. And I think this creature is ready to trust a little more. The alarm came at night. Jinho was sleeping in his quarters when the station shook. A deep rumble moved through the metal walls. The lights flickered and went out. Emergency red lights came on a moment later. A voice spoke over the station's speakers. Attention all personnel. Seismic event detected. Power grid failure in sections 7 through 12. Containment fields offline. This is not a drill. Jinho's blood went cold. Sections 7 through 12. That was the containment area. That was where all the dangerous creatures were kept. He jumped out of bed and ran into the hallway. Other workers were running too, but they were running the wrong way. They were running toward the escape pods. The Thornbacks are loose, someone screamed. Jinho knew about the Thornbacks. They were insect-like predators from a desert world. They hunted in packs. They were fast, and they were hungry. If they had escaped, the station was in serious danger. He ran toward the containment area, against the flow of fleeing aliens. Human, where are you going? A Moran worker shouted at him. Jinho did not answer. He just kept running. The containment area was in chaos. Emergency lights cast red shadows on the walls. Jinho could hear sounds coming from the darkness. Clicking, scratching, hunting sounds. He found Kira at the main control room. She was trying to restore power to the containment fields, but the systems were not responding. 12 creatures have escaped, she said when she saw him, including a pack of 7 thornbacks. They have already killed 2 workers. Where is Minji? Jinho asked. I do not know. She was in the observation room when the power went out. Jinho's heart tightened. The observation room was deep in the containment area. If Minji was trapped there with the thornbacks loose, she was in terrible danger. What about the Shadow Maw? He asked. Kira looked at him with fear in her yellow eyes. Its cage lost power too. It is free. Jinho was quiet for a moment. Then he made a decision. I am going to find Minji, he said. And I am going to need help. He turned and walked toward the Shadow Maw's cage. Wait! Kira shouted. What are you doing? The creature is loose. It will kill you. Jinho did not stop. He walked through the dark hallways until he reached the cage. The door was open. The emergency lights made weak red pools on the floor. He stepped inside. I know you are here, he said softly. I know you are free. You could run. Something moved in the darkness. But I need your help, Jinho continued. My friend is in danger. There are bad creatures hunting in these halls. I cannot fight them alone. A shape appeared before him. The Shadow Maw stepped out of the shadows. Its black body seemed to absorb the red light. Its head turned toward Jinho. For a long moment, they looked at each other. Human and predator. 2 creatures from different worlds, connected by something strange and new. Then the Shadow Maw moved to Jinho's side. It stood beside him like a guard dog waiting for orders. Thank you, Jinho whispered. They moved through the containment area together. Jinho walked slowly and carefully. The Shadow Maw moved beside him, its 6 legs making almost no sound on the metal floor. They found the first thornback near the food storage area. It was a ugly thing, with a hard shell and sharp claws. It saw Jinho and made a clicking sound. Then it charged. The Shadow Maw moved like lightning. One moment it was beside Jinho. The next moment it was on top of the thornback. There was a brief, violent struggle. Then, silence. The thornback was dead. Jinho looked at the Shadow Maw. The creature returned to his side as if nothing had happened. It had protected him. It had killed for him. Good, Jinho said softly. Good. They continued forward. They found 2 more thornbacks and dealt with them the same way. The Shadow Maw was faster and stronger than the insect creatures. It was the apex predator of a Class 7 death world. The thornbacks were nothing to it. Finally, they reached the observation room. The door was sealed shut. Jinho knocked on it. Minji, are you in there? A muffled voice answered. Jinho? Is that you? Yes. Are you okay? I am with Rune. We sealed the door, but there are thornbacks outside. We can hear them scratching. Jinho looked around. He could not see the thornbacks, but he knew they were close, hiding in the shadows, waiting. I am going to open the door, Jinho said. When I do, you need to run. Go left, toward the main control room. Do not stop for anything. But the thornbacks, I will handle them, Jinho said. Trust me. There was a pause. Then Minji's voice came again. Okay. I trust you. Jinho found the manual release for the door. He looked at the Shadow Maw. Protect them, he said. Please. The creature's head moved up and down. It was almost like a nod. Jinho pulled the release. The door opened. Minji and Ruin came out. Ruin was a 4-armed moron, tall and strong, but right now he looked terrified. When he saw the Shadow Maw, he screamed, It is okay. Minji shouted, It is with us. Run. They ran. Behind them, the remaining thornbacks appeared. 4 of them. Clicking and hungry. The Shadow Maw met them in the middle of the hallway. It was a battle that lasted less than a minute. The Shadow Maw was a creature born on a world where everything wanted to kill everything else. It had survived for years in conditions that would destroy most life forms. 4 thornbacks were not even a challenge. When it was over, the Shadow Maw returned to Jinho. Its black skin had a few scratches, but it was not badly hurt. You did it, Jinho said. He reached out with his gloved hand and touched the creature's head. You saved them. The Shadow Maw made a sound. It was not a growl. It was something softer. Something almost like a purr. By the time they reached the main control room, the power was coming back online. Kira had managed to restore the containment fields. The remaining escaped creatures were being recaptured. 11 lives had been saved that night. The 2 workers killed by the Thornbacks were mourned. But without the Shadow Maw's help, the number would have been much higher. Minji sat on the floor, her back against the wall. She was shaking, but she was smiling too. I cannot believe what just happened, she said. You walked into that cage and asked a Shadow Maw for help. And it helped you. Jinho sat down beside her. The Shadow Maw lay at his feet, its head resting on its front legs. It is not that strange, Jinho said. On Earth, we have worked with animals for thousands of years. Dogs have protected humans from wolves. Horses have carried us into battle. Even dolphins have helped sailors lost at sea. But those animals were domesticated over generations, Minji said. This creature has known you for only a few weeks. Jinho looked at the Shadow Maw. He smiled and scratched his head. Maybe that is enough, he said. Maybe all any creature needs is someone who believes in them. Someone who is not afraid to sit in the dark with them and say, I see you. I understand you. I want to be your friend. The Shadow Maw opened one eye and looked at him. Then it closed the eye and went back to sleep. Across the control room, Kira watched the human and the predator resting together. She had seen many things in her long life. But this was something new. Something she did not fully understand, but maybe she did not need to understand it. Maybe she just needed to accept it. Humans were strange creatures. And perhaps that was a good thing. The Galactic Union's Scientific Council met in a great hall on the capital world of Verith Prime. Representatives from 100 different species sat in curved rows that rose toward a domed ceiling painted with stars. This was the heart of the Union, where the most important decisions were made. Today, they had gathered to discuss one thing. The human. Park Jinho stood at the center of the hall. He wore simple clothes, the same kind he always wore. Behind him, resting calmly on the polished floor, was the Shadow Maw. The creature that had killed 17 trained professionals was now lying peacefully in the most important room in the galaxy. It had walked through the capital city without attacking anyone. It had passed crowds of terrified aliens without so much as growling. It simply followed Jinho, staying close to his side like a shadow. This is impossible, the head counselor said. He was a tall being made of crystal, and his voice rang like a bell. Our records show that Shadow Maws cannot be trained. They cannot be controlled. Yet this human has done both. I have not controlled it, Jinho said politely. I have befriended it. There is no difference, another counselor said. This one was a being of pure energy, glowing blue in its seat. There is a very big difference, Jinho replied. Control means forcing someone to do what you want. Friendship means wanting the same things together. The council was silent for a moment. This was a strange idea to them. In the Galactic Union, species either dominated others or were dominated by them. That was the natural order. Friendship between species was rare, and friendship between a sentient being and a wild predator was unheard of. Consul Pell, who had come from Station Verath 9 to witness this moment, rose to speak. I have watched this human for 2 months, Pell said. His gelatinous body shimmered under the lights. I have seen him do things that our best trainers could not do. He did not use force. He did not use technology. He used patience. He used kindness. He sat in the dark with this creature and showed it that he was not an enemy. And the creature accepted this? The Crystal Counselor asked. Yes, Pell said. Not only accepted, but returned it. During the incident on our station, the Shadow Maw protected the human. It fought to keep him safe. It followed his commands, not because it was forced to, but because it chose to. More silence. The counselors looked at each other, exchanging thoughts through means that Jinho could not understand. Finally, the energy being spoke again. Human. We have studied your species since you joined the Union. You are confusing to us. Your bodies are weak. You have no natural weapons. You come from a dangerous world, yet you do not act like survivors of a dangerous world. How do survivors of dangerous worlds usually act? Jinho asked. They are aggressive, violent. They fight everything that threatens them. Jinho smiled and scratched his head. We used to be like that. Long ago, when we first became intelligent, we fought everything. We fought animals. We fought each other. We nearly destroyed ourselves many times. What changed? We learned, Jinho said simply. We learned that fighting is not the only way to survive. We learned that cooperation can be stronger than competition. We learned that even our enemies can become our friends, if we have the patience to understand them. He gestured to the Shadow Maw. The creature lifted its head and looked at the council. On Earth, we call this domestication, Jinho continued. But it is not about making animals serve us. It is about forming a partnership. We give them food and safety. They give us their strength and loyalty. Both sides benefit. Both sides are better together than apart. The Shadow Maw made a soft sound. It rose to its feet and walked to Jinho's side. Then it did something that made the entire council gasp. It pressed its head against Jinho's hand. The gesture was gentle. It was trusting. It was the kind of thing that only happened between beings who cared for each other. You see, Jinho said softly, this creature is not my slave. It is not my tool. My friend, the council meeting lasted many more hours. There were debates and arguments, questions and doubts. But in the end, the result was clear. The Scientific Council officially requested that human trainers be assigned to every high-risk containment facility in the Galactic Union. They created a new program called the Human Methods Initiative, designed to study and spread the techniques that Jinho had used. Han Minji was named the leader of this program. She would travel across the galaxy, teaching other species how to build relationships with dangerous creatures, instead of just caging them. I do not know if I am ready for this, Minji told Jinho after the council meeting. You are ready, Jinho said. You learned everything I could teach you. Now it is time for you to teach others. But what about you? What will you do? Jinho looked at the Shadow Maw. The creature was resting at his feet, as comfortable in this strange new world as it had been in its dark cage. I think I will stay with my friend, Jinho said. We still have a lot to learn about each other. As they left the council hall, Kira was waiting for them. The reptilian trainer had traveled to Vareth Prime to witness the council's decision. She still had many questions, but there was one she needed to ask more than any other. Back on the station, Kira said, when you first entered the cage, were you really not afraid? Jinho thought about this for a moment. I was terrified, he admitted. My heart was pounding. My hands were shaking. Every instinct told me to run. Then how did you stay so calm? How did you control your fear? Jinho smiled. It was a gentle smile, full of warmth and understanding. On Earth, we have a saying, he said. Fear is just excitement that forgot to breathe. When I am afraid, I take slow breaths. I remind myself why I am doing what I am doing. I focus on the goal, not the danger. And that works? Sometimes. Jinho said honestly. Sometimes it does not. But the Shadow Maw could sense my fear. It knew I was afraid. And yet I stayed anyway. I think that is what mattered. I was afraid, but I did not run. I did not attack. I just sat there and said, I am here. I am not going to hurt you. Kira was quiet for a long time. Then she made a sound that might have been a laugh. Humans are very strange, she said. Yes, Jinho agreed. We are. They walked out of the council building into the light of a foreign sun. The streets of the capital city were filled with aliens of every shape and size. Many of them stopped to stare at the Shadow Maw. Some ran away, others watched with curiosity, but the Shadow Maw did not attack any of them. It simply walked beside Jinho, calm and content. What will happen now? Minji asked. Change, Jinho said. The galaxy will start to see animals differently. They will start to see us differently. Maybe they will learn that strength is not about domination. Maybe they will learn that the greatest power is the power to make friends. He scratched his head and smiled. Or maybe they will just think we are crazy. Either way, we have started something. A new way of thinking, a new way of being. The Shadow Maw looked up at him. Its head moved in that strange nodding motion again. Yes, Jinho said softly, as if answering an unspoken question. I think we have a lot more work to do. Together, they walked into the crowded streets, human and predator, partners in a universe that was only beginning to understand the power of friendship. And somewhere, on a small blue world called Earth, wolves slept in warm beds, horses grazed in green fields, and cats pretended they did not care about their humans even though they secretly did. That was the human way. It had always been the human way. And now, thanks to one calm man who knew how to sit still in the dark, the galaxy was learning it too.